The headline from Brian Fisher over at Fox Sports is as follows: Michigan, Ohio State could forever make this the year of the Big Ten. Well, I'll tell you right now, Brian, that'd be the first time in a long time that it's been the Big Ten's year, because usually it's not. Just being straight up, and I don't know. This is the first time that amazingly, frankly, this is the first time the Big Ten has gotten two teams into the college football playoff, and they narrowly did it this year. Obviously, with SC losing on that Friday night, that pushed Ohio State in. Um, these are two of the best teams in the country, and I mean that's what I think the playoff should be dictated on: is not who's the most deserving, but who are the best four. And we've not seen that. We've seen in the past that that's not been the case. But could this be the Big Ten's year? I mean, if you have an Ohio State Michigan matchup for the national championship, everybody's going to be super touchy and feely about that one, north of Knoxville. Sorry, Kentucky. But it's just we got a long way to go before we get to that point. First of all, the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to be about a touchdown underdog to Georgia in the Peach Bowl. That's going to be a challenging game for Ohio State to win. If you need tickets to that game, our friends at Ticket IQ have got you covered. You can click the link down below for no fees, no frills. Ticket IQ, check that out today. I mean, could this be the year for the Big Ten? Do we talk like that about the SEC? Georgia and Bama playing for the national championship twice in the last 5 seasons. Obviously, LSU winning it in 19, Alabama winning it in 20. I mean, the Southeastern Conference has dominated the sport since 2006, if not really before that time. I mean, in that time, we've seen Ohio State win two national championships. Excuse me. I was they've only won one in that particular time, but I was kind of thinking more back to 1992. If you look at the stretch of time where the consensus national champion has been determined on the field for the most part, that has been uh, since the start of, it really was not the college football playoff, obviously. It was in 1990, I believe it was 91 or so. That's when you started seeing um, the bowl coalition, and that became the BCS. But that was with the Hancock Bowl was involved and all this stuff. We went away from split national championships for the most part, starting in 1992, when we attempted as a sport to get the top two teams that the top two teams that weren't in the Pac-12 or Big Ten into the same game. They were so adamant about the Rose Bowl that we did not get a true national championship game in 1997 or in 2003. It was not the Rose Bowl's fault, but that's another story for another day. But anyway, in 92, Alabama won the national championship. Then you had 96, 98, 2003, uh, and then it went 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, excuse me, 17, 19, 20, 21. With the exception of a couple of ACC championships, oddly enough, in a 5-year span, you had three champions from the ACC. It's been nothing but the SEC. I mean, it's been from 2006 on. There have been only four champions from other teams, from other conferences, and that those three of those four were from the ACC, and the other one was Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State's won the national championship twice this century. Georgia could be doing it twice in 2 years. So, Michigan's not won the national championship since 1997. I do think Ohio State will win the national championship at some stage. It might be this year. It might be this year. We don't know. I'm a little more skeptical. I don't know why, probably ignorantly, that Michigan will win the national championship in the future. I think Ohio State is better equipped, I guess, but they're not proving it. That's for sure. Hey, listen, we're getting a lot of orders for Dogstruction these days. please order it this week because I'm paying more to get these to y'all as fast as I can. I cannot send them to you if you don't order them soon. Next week, if you order it, I'm still going to put it in the mail, but there's just no guarantee. I cannot guarantee the book. The other place that you can get it is Red Zone in Athens. If you're in Gwinnett County, it is worth you driving over. If you're in Commerce or Hartwell, if you're in Lake Country down there, it's worth the trip to Athens to go to Red Zone. Just check it all out. You can get the book there. I'm not just talking about the book, and they'll give you a shirt for free with it. I'm just saying they are getting lower on books. So I will have some more for them next week, but go now and get your holiday shopping done. Get your Christmas shopping done so you can concentrate on what's your plan for dealing with the in-laws. What are you going to cook? Do you have some whack job vegan in your family? We don't. But if you do, uh, you know, they really should be set to the side. I mean, vegetarians I can sort of stomach, not really, but vegans, come on, man. It just doesn't seem like fun. Anyway, but if it's for medical reasons, I get it. I'm not sure that that's something that's true, but whatever. Um, so since '92, what happened in '92 was the sport changed. In the '70s, you had going back to the '70s. These are the teams that won the national championship in the 1970s: Nebraska, USC, Notre Dame, Alabama, USC, Oklahoma, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, Alabama, USC. So not a lot of, it was basically the same group. Well, that changed in the '80s. Georgia, Clemson, Penn State, Miami, BYU, Oklahoma. Well, a slew of those didn't win it in the '70s. So for sort of the first 5 years of the '80s, it was crazy. And then Miami started winning. Okay. But in the '90s, the SEC became a 12-team league. The championship game occurred. You saw the emergence from a 12-year slumber of winning the national championship from Georgia in '80 to Bama in '92. From that moment forward, there's been no more dominant conference than the league, than the SEC. I call it the league a lot just because, you don't want to constantly say SEC. But, we've seen Nebraska have their time in the mid '90s. We've seen Florida State more sporadically than anyone else has really spread their championships over time: '93, '99, '14. Um, but no one else has really stuck around the way that the SEC has. Now that's 12 schools and becoming 14 schools. So it's a little bit unfair in a way to compare all of the SEC against anyone else. But no one else has really mattered. I mean, you look at Ohio State from 1992 on, they've won two national championships. Clemson has won two in that time. You look from 1992 on, Florida State has won three national championships. That's more than everybody in the Big Ten combined because they basically have two and a half, right? No, I'm not giving you Nebraska when they played in the Big Eight. They literally played in the Big Eight, y'all. This is not even the Big 12, okay, when these things happen. So, no, it could be the game of the Big Ten, but trust me when I tell you, this has been the SEC's year. It's probably going to continue to be the SEC's year. Uh, when you have that many teams clustered in the top 10, and the Big Ten has had a good run with Penn State, but it's just like, well, aren't they just going to get their ass kicked by Kentucky in the bowl game? And the answer is yes, because they traditionally do. You can send your hate mail to dean@dawgpost.com, James Franklin, but you know it's the truth. And it doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm going to look up these clowns at Penn State, what they've been over the last few years. Okay? And we're really talking about them like they matter. I don't have this year's record. So they have had a pretty good year this year. And then the year before that, 7-6, 4-5, 11-2, 9-4, 11-2, 11-3, 7-6, 7-6. They have lost the Outback Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the Tax Slayer Bowl. Boy, you don't want to lose the Tax Slayer Bowl. Obviously, that was the game against Georgia, right? The Gator Bowl. Gross. Pinstripe game they won. They won the Fiesta Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. But in this time, Their loss in the Outback was to Kentucky. Arkansas, 24-10 beating by Arkansas. I mean, good God. Uh, that's just I don't know what to say. This is your number 3 program in your league. The Cotton Bowl, they had to survive Memphis. They allowed 39 points to Memphis, for God's sake. The Citrus Bowl, that's when they lost to Kentucky. We were led to believe that was a good Penn State team. No. The Fiesta Bowl, they beat Washington. They beat UW. All right. I mean, that's probably their best win. The Rose Bowl, they gave away a Rose Bowl win to USC as the number 5 team in the country. Tax Slayer obviously lost to the Dogs in the Gator Bowl. Bad loss for Penn State. That was not a good Georgia team. And then in the Pinstripe Bowl, they beat Boston College, I believe, to get to 7-6. That's your third best team in your league. Can't be Wisconsin, right? I mean, they might be in the near future with Luke up there. Luke Fickell is a great coach. It's not been Nebraska. They're a joke. I mean, is that going to get better? It should. It should. They've made 2 coaching hires that are good. But the difference here is bad coaches, Gene Chizik, Coach O, they win national championships in the SEC. Bad coaches in the Big Ten are just at Iowa for a quarter century. Hey, get your feelings hurt if you want to.